The bride never showed up. The Mafia groom looked at me and said, "You'll do instead." My name is Vera Yáng. I was hired to plan the wedding of the year, not to become the bride. By 9 in the morning, the Romano Alvarez estate looked perfect. White roses everywhere. Crystal chandeliers. 500 guests expected. The city's most dangerous families would be under one roof. And the only thing missing was the bride. Alessandra Romano had vanished. Phone off. Car gone. No note. When Marcelo Alvarez walked into the bridal suite, I knew something was wrong. He looked at me, the wedding planner, and saw a solution. "You're her size," he said. "You know the ceremony. You'll stand in." I should have said no. I should have run. But when you're standing in a room with a man whose family controls half the city, and he tells you that people will die if this wedding doesn't happen, you don't say no. You put on the dress. You walk down the aisle. You say vows you don't mean. Except somewhere between "I do" and the kiss that was supposed to be for show. Everything changed. Welcome to the Diary of Hearts. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I post dangerously addictive mafia romance stories like this one 3 times a week, and once you start, you won't be able to stop. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing which parts of the world my stories reach. Now, let's get into today's story. Has anyone heard from Alessandra? I asked, scrolling through my phone. The makeup artist shook her head. Her phone's been off for hours. Security's checking hotels. My stomach dropped. In 3 months of planning this wedding, Alessandra Romano had never once been late. The doors slammed open. Marcelo Alvarez walked in. I'd seen him before, at tastings, at meetings, always surrounded by men in expensive suits with dangerous eyes. Today he wore a white shirt with rolled sleeves, black vest, tie loosened like he'd already been fighting. He looked like controlled fury. "Out," he said quietly. Everyone scattered. In seconds, it was just us. "Good morning, Mr. Alvarez," I said, trying to sound professional. "We're still within timeline. Where is she?" 3 words.
Calm. Deadly.
"We're trying to reach her." "So you don't know?" He stepped closer. "Her phone. Off. Her car. Gone." He looked at the wedding dress on the mannequin. Then at me. "You're her size," he said. My heart stopped. "What?" "You know every detail of this ceremony. Where to stand. What to say. You've rehearsed it 100 times. I'm the planner, not the bride. 500 people are arriving in 3 hours," he said. "My family. My enemies. Politicians. If this wedding doesn't happen, it won't just be embarrassing. It will start a war." I couldn't breathe. "People will lose contracts," he continued. "Some will lose their lives. All because she decided she didn't feel like showing up. You can't be serious." "I need a bride." His eyes locked onto mine. "And you're the only option I have." "That's insane." "You always this honest with clients?" he asked. "You're asking me to marry you?" I said. "I think I'm allowed." "I'm asking you to stand beside me for 1 day," he corrected. "Say the words. Smile for the cameras. When it's over, you walk away. I'll pay you whatever you want." "I don't want money." "Then do it, because innocent people will get hurt if you don't," he said. I thought of the staff. The caterers who'd worked all night. The musicians. The florists. I thought of blood on marble floors because a bride got cold feet. "1 day." I whispered. "1 day," he promised. "And then I'm free?" Completely. I closed my eyes. This was the worst decision of my life.
"Fine," I said.
"Let's get it over with." He nodded once and turned to the door. "Get her ready. She's on a tight schedule." 2 women entered and began working immediately. As they pinned my hair and laced the corset, I watched myself transform in the mirror. Dark hair swept into an elegant updo. Natural makeup. The dress, God, the dress fit perfectly. I looked like a bride. I felt like a fraud. A knock at the door. A man entered, tall, serious, dangerous. "Miss Yáng, I'm Franco," he said. "It's time." "Are you here to drag me down the aisle?" "Just to escort you." His eyes softened slightly. "You can still say no." "And what happens if I do?" He'll handle it, Franco said. But a lot of people will suffer. I took a breath. Then let's go. Franco offered his arm. I took it. We walked through marble corridors toward massive double doors. Music drifted from inside. Ready? Franco asked. No, I said honestly. But open them anyway. The doors swung wide. 500 people stood and turned. Cameras flashed. And at the end of that impossibly long aisle, standing under an arch of white roses, Marcelo Alvarez waited. His eyes found mine. For a second, something flickered across his face.
Surprise.
Relief. Something else I couldn't name. Then his expression went smooth. Franco squeezed my hand once. Breathe. And together, we started walking toward the lie I was about to tell 500 dangerous people. With vows. Every step felt like walking toward the edge of a cliff. White roses lined the aisle. Candles flickered. The string quartet played something beautiful and mournful. Faces turned as I passed. Some curious. Some confused. Some calculating. An older woman in emerald silk whispered to her companion, sharp and suspicious. A man in a navy suit stared openly, trying to figure out what he was seeing. But Marcelo didn't look away. He stood at the altar in a black suit that fit like armor, hands clasped, expression unreadable. When I reached him, Franco placed my hand in Marcelo's. His palm was warm.
Steady.
Thank you, he murmured, for coming. Didn't have much choice, I whispered back. You always have a choice. The officiant cleared his throat and began. Dearly beloved. The words washed over me. Families. Union.
Covenant.
Then the officiant turned to me. Do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? Every eye in the room locked onto me. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Marcelo's hand tightened slightly around mine. Not a threat, a reminder. I'm here. I looked at him. At the man who'd walked into a bridal suite this morning and made an impossible demand. I do, I said. The words hung in the air. The officiant turned to Marcelo. And do you take this woman? I do, Marcelo said without hesitation. Firm. Final. The officiant smiled. Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
He paused.
You may kiss your bride. My blood turned to ice. Marcelo turned toward me slowly. His hand lifted to the veil, drawing it back over my hair. The world came into sharper focus. Just for show, I whispered. His gaze dropped to my mouth. Just for show. But the way he looked at me didn't feel like a show. He stepped closer. One hand settled at the small of my back. The other cupped my jaw. And then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't polite. It was real. His mouth was warm and sure, his hand firm against my spine like he was afraid I'd disappear if he let go. I should have pulled away. Instead, my fingers curled into his vest. The room erupted into applause. When he finally pulled back, his forehead rested against mine for half a second. That, he murmured, was not just for show. Before I could respond, he turned us to face the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Marcelo Alvarez. Mrs. Alvarez. That was me now. He led me back down the aisle, his hand steady at my waist. Guests reached out. Congratulations. Beautiful.
So happy for you.
All lies. Except for the way Marcelo's thumb brushed my knuckles as we walked. That felt dangerously real. We reached the doors. Sunlight blinded me after the dim ballroom. A black car waited. Marcelo helped me inside, gathering the dress so it wouldn't catch.
He slid in beside me.
The door closed. Silence. Just me, him, and the lie we'd just told 500 people with vows that felt too much like the truth. I stared at my hands, still trembling. You okay? He asked. I looked at him. At the man I'd just married. No, I said honestly. But I don't think I'm supposed to be. He exhaled slowly. Neither am I. The car pulled away, carrying us toward the reception, toward champagne and speeches, and a first dance I hadn't prepared for. toward a night that was supposed to end with me walking away. But as Marcelo's hand found mine in the space between us, fingers threading together like they'd done it 1,000 times before, I realized something terrifying. I didn't know if I wanted to walk away anymore. And, from the way he was holding on, I didn't think he did either. The ballroom looked like a dream. Crystal chandeliers, ivory silk, white roses and gold candles everywhere. I'd planned every detail. I just never thought I'd be the bride walking into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Marcelo Alvarez. Applause crashed over us as we entered. Marcelo's hand pressed against my back, guiding me to the head table. We sat. Champagne appeared. He lifted his glass. I lifted mine. To new beginnings, someone called. Marcelo's eyes locked onto mine. To new beginnings. We drank. An elegant older woman approached. Silver hair, sharp eyes, expensive pearls. Marcelo stood immediately. Nana. His grandmother. She studied me like I was a painting she was deciding whether to buy.
So, she said,
"You're the girl who saved my grandson." "I'm Vera. I know who you are. You were the planner. Now you're the bride." "It's complicated," I managed. "Love usually is." She smiled. "Keep him honest, girl. God knows someone needs to." She walked away, leaving me stunned. "She likes you," Marcelo said. "How can you tell?" "She didn't threaten you." I laughed despite everything. A young woman slid into Marcelo's empty seat. Dark hair, red lipstick, sharp smile. "I'm Sophia, Marcelo's cousin." "Vera." "I know. Everyone knows."
She grinned.
"You married him on 3 hours' notice. That takes guts." "Or insanity." "Probably both." She leaned closer. "Alessandra was an idiot for running." "Was she?" I asked quietly. "Or was she smart?" Sophia studied me. "You really don't know if you made the right choice, do you? Ask me tomorrow." She nodded. "For what it's worth, I hope you stay. He looks at you like you're real. No one's looked at him like that in a long time." She left before I could respond. The music shifted. Marcelo appeared in front of me, hand extended. "They're expecting a first dance." "I don't know how." "Yes, you do. You choreographed it." "That's different." "Come on."
His eyes softened.
"I've got you." I put my hand in his. He pulled me to the dance floor. His hand settled at my waist, the other holding mine. We moved. He led with confidence, guiding me through turns I didn't know I could make. "You're shaking," he said quietly. "I'm terrified." "Of me?" I looked up at him.
"Of this."
"The way it feels like it's not pretend anymore." His steps slowed. "It stopped being pretend," he said, "the moment you said I do." "Marcelo. I know what we agreed. One day. Then you walk away." "But," his gaze held mine. "But I'm starting to think one day won't be enough." The music faded. Applause surrounded us. But I barely heard it. Because Marcelo was still holding me, still looking at me like I was the only person in the room. Speeches started.
Toasts.
Laughter. Marcelo's hand found mine under the table during his best man speech. He leaned close to whisper jokes that made me laugh. He defended me when a guest asked too many questions. And slowly I realized something. I wasn't just surviving this night. I was living in it. The man beside me, the one who'd forced my hand this morning, was starting to feel less like a stranger. And more like someone I didn't want to let go of. Even if I knew I should. Even if tomorrow meant goodbye. Tonight, just for tonight. I let myself pretend this was real. And from the way Marcelo was holding my hand, never letting go even when he didn't have to, I wasn't the only one pretending anymore. The reception wound down. Guests began leaving. The last car pulled away around midnight. Marcelo stood beside me on the terrace, jacket gone, sleeves rolled up. "You can go now," he said quietly. "If you want. Back to your life." I turned to him. "And what happens to you?" "I'll handle it. Alone. I'm used to it." Something in his voice cracked. I took a step closer. "You don't have to be." His eyes met mine, dark and uncertain. Don't stay because you feel sorry for me. I don't pity you, I said. Then what is this? I didn't have an answer. Or maybe I did, and I was just too scared to say it. This morning, Marcelo said, I was desperate. I looked at you and saw a solution. I remember. But then you walked down that aisle. His voice dropped, and I stopped seeing a solution. My pulse quickened. What did you see? Someone brave enough to save people who would never thank her, he said. Someone who chose to stay when running would have been smarter. He stepped closer. Someone who looked at me like I was a person, not a weapon. Marcelo. I know what we agreed, he said. One day. No strings. But I don't want you to walk away. The words hung between us. You've known me for 3 months, I said. Most of that, I was just your wedding planner. I looked, he said quietly. You just didn't notice. When? The cake tasting. You talked about your husband. Your voice changed. You looked hurt but not broken. He stepped closer. The floral consult. You argued about centerpieces but made them work anyway. You compromised without losing yourself. Another step. The final walkthrough. You knew the staff's names. Asked about their families. You treated them like people.
We were inches apart now.
I noticed, he said. I just didn't let myself think about it because I was supposed to marry someone else. His hand lifted, fingers brushing my jaw. And then she ran. And you were there. And I realized maybe she did us both a favor. My heart pounded. This is insane. You're right, he agreed. I can't decide I want you just because she left. Then what are you saying? I'm saying I don't know if this is real or just desperation, he said honestly. I'm saying I've spent my life making calculated decisions, and you feel like the first reckless thing I've ever wanted. His thumb traced my cheekbone. I'm saying I have no right to ask you to stay, but I'm asking anyway. Tears pricked my eyes. Marcelo, I can't. I know. You had a life before this. A husband you loved. A business you built. Yes. And I'm asking you to risk all of it for a man you barely know. I don't know your world, I whispered. But I closed my eyes, felt his hand on my face, felt the weight of the dress, felt the ghost of his kiss still burning on my lips. But I said vows today, I whispered. And somewhere between the ceremony and now, they started to feel real. His expression shifted.
Hope. Fear.
Something raw. Vera. I'm terrified, I admitted.
Of you.
Of this. Of what staying might cost. Then don't stay. Go home. Be safe. I don't want safe, I said. I've spent 3 years being safe. And then you happened. A tear slid down my cheek. You and your impossible demand and your stupid vows and your way of looking at me like I'm not broken. You're not broken, he said fiercely. Neither are you. His forehead dropped to mine. If you stay, I can't promise it'll be easy. My world is dangerous. People will test you, try to use you to get to me. I know. I can't promise I'll always get it right. I'm controlling, possessive. I know that too. Then why? I met his eyes. Because when you kissed me at that altar, I felt something I haven't felt in 3 years.
What?
Alive.
He kissed me then.
Not for show. Not for cameras. Just for us. His mouth was gentle and desperate, like he was afraid I'd vanish. I kissed him back, fingers tangling in his shirt. When we pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. Come on, he said, voice rough. Let me show you where you'll sleep. He led me inside, through quiet hallways. We stopped at a door. This is the guest wing. Marcelo, where do you want me to sleep? His jaw clenched. In my room. But I'm not going to push. I looked at the guest door. Then at him. Show me your room. We walked to his door. Inside, the room was dark and masculine. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A bed big enough to get lost in. I'll take the couch. We're married, I said. For 1 day at least. We can share a bed. He helped me out of the dress, fingers careful on the buttons. I put on his shirt. It swallowed me. We climbed into bed. In the darkness, his hand found mine.
Thank you, he said.
For today. For tonight. For not running. Ask me tomorrow if I made the right choice. And if you didn't? I squeezed his hand. Then at least we'll have tonight. At least we'll have tonight, he agreed. And we held on. I woke to sunlight and the weight of an arm across my waist. Marcelo. The memories came back. The dress. The vows. The kiss. The choice to stay. His hand rested on my stomach, warm and possessive even in sleep. I should have felt trapped. Instead, I felt safe. You're thinking too loud. His voice was rough with sleep. Sorry. You didn't. His arm tightened. I've been awake wondering if you'd regret last night. I turned in his arms. His hair was messy, falling across his forehead. His eyes were softer without the weight of the day. Do you regret it? I asked.
No.
But I'm not the one who got dragged into someone else's life. I brushed hair off his forehead. You gave me an out last night. I didn't take it. Why? Because for the first time in 3 years, I felt like I was choosing something for me. Not because it was smart. Because I wanted to. His hand cupped my face. And now, in daylight, I looked into his eyes. I want to know if this can be more than one day. His breath caught. You mean that? I don't know how this works. I don't know your world. I don't know if I'm strong enough. You are, he said fiercely. You don't know that. I know you stood in front of 500 dangerous people and didn't flinch. I know you're braver than anyone I've met. His thumb traced my cheek. I'm scared of you leaving. Of you realizing I'm not worth the risk. Marcelo. But I'm more scared of letting you walk away without asking you to stay. He pulled back to look at me. Stay. Not for one day. For real. Let me earn you. Let me prove yesterday wasn't a mistake. And if it doesn't work, we'll figure out together. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of the decision.
Stay. Go.
Risk everything. Protect myself. Okay, I whispered. His eyes opened. Okay, I'll stay. Not forever. Not yet. But long enough to see if this is real. The smile that broke across his face was like sunrise. Yeah. Yeah. He kissed me, soft and slow and full of promise. A knock at the door interrupted. Boss, your mother's here. Marcelo groaned. Of course she is. He looked at me. Ready to face the family? Absolutely not. Good answer. But we have to anyway. We dressed. He let me one of his shirts. We walked to the sitting room hand in hand. His mother waited. Elegant, sharp-eyed. When we entered, she looked up. Her gaze swept over our clasped hands, my borrowed shirt, the obvious fact we'd spent the night together. So, she said, it's like that, is it? Mama. I'm not upset.
She stood.
Alessandra was wrong for you. Everyone knew it. She turned to me. You, however, are different. I'm sorry for the confusion yesterday. You saved my son from humiliation. You did what needed to be done. She took my hands. Welcome to the family, Vera. Officially this time. Tears pricked my eyes. Thank you. She smiled.
Now.
We have much to discuss. And just like that, I wasn't alone anymore. 6 months later, I sat in a cafe, laptop open, reviewing contracts.
The door chimed.
I looked up. Marcelo walked in, still in his suit from a meeting. When he saw me, his entire expression softened. He crossed the cafe and bent down to kiss me. How's work? He asked.
Good.
The bride only cried twice today. He laughed. Want company? Always. He sat across from me. I ran into Alessandra's mother, he said casually. She's in Paris. Engaged to an artist. Good for her. She said thank you. For stepping in. For saving her daughter from a life she didn't want. I smiled. Tell her she's welcome. I'm not sorry, Marcelo said quietly. Neither am I. He reached into his jacket.
Pulled out a small box.
Inside was a ring. Simple. Elegant. I want to do this right, he said. Ask you properly. Not in a panic. Because I choose you, and I want you to choose me back. He looked up. So, when you're ready, ask me. I blinked.
You want me to propose to you?
We're already married. Figured we might as well do everything backwards. I laughed, tears streaming. What if I'm ready now? His eyes widened. Vera. Marcelo Alvarez, will you stay married to me? Officially. No performance. Just us. His smile was blinding.
Yes.
1,000 times yes. I slipped the ring on. It fit perfectly. Just like us. Backwards.
Chaotic.
Unexpected. But perfect. And that's how the wedding planner replaced the missing bride and became his forever. Question: would you step into someone else's wedding and end up finding your own happy ending?
Comment Bilo?
Subscribe for 3 new dark romance stories weekly. Next one drops Thursday. I promise this next one will wreck you. Share this if you've ever made a split-second decision that changed your entire life. Thanks for watching. Remember, sometimes you don't plan your happy ending. It ambushes you at the altar.